I will be removing every team's best player in NHL 23, and then I will simulate to see how differently the league will pan out. Will some teams actually flourish and do better without their best player, or will most teams likely fall off the face of the earth? Losing their best player will probably do that. Let's find out. So the Anaheim Ducks, they are going to be losing Troy Terry. He's an 85 overall. He's also tied with Trevor Zegras, but I decided to do Troy Terry. Arizona will lose Clayton Keller at an 87 overall, and that is definitely going to hurt them. I mean, let's be honest, they're not really good with him, so they're going to be absolutely terrible without him. The Boston Bruins are going to lose Charlie McAvoy, who is a 94 overall. What? Since when has Charlie McAvoy been a 94 overall? I have no idea. Anyways, they are going to lose him as he is their highest rated player in NHL 23. Buffalo is obviously going to lose Tage Thompson, and that is going to sting for sure. He has high franchise potential, and he's a 92 overall. Calgary is going to lose Elias Lindholm at an 89 overall. Carolina is going to lose your mom's a hoe, Sebastian Aho at a 91 overall. Jacob Slavin is also a 91, but I decided to go with Sebastian Aho. Chicago is going to lose Jonathan Taves at an 84 overall. I mean, that's already happening in real life. He's not coming back to the team next season, so I don't think they really care. Yeah, Chicago was definitely a rough one, being that they don't really have any good players. Now, this one is definitely going to sting. Colorado's going to lose Cale Makar at a 96 overall, the best defenseman in the entire game. Columbus is going to lose Johnny Hockey at an 89 overall. Dallas will lose their young stud Jason Robertson at a 93 overall. That is definitely going to hurt them. The Red Wings will lose Dylan Larkin at a 91 overall. The Oilers might take the biggest hit out of any team in the simulation, as they are going to lose a 99 Connor McDavid, the best player in the league, and they no longer have him. The Florida Panthers are going to lose Matthew Tkachuk at a 94 overall. The LA Kings are going to lose Anze Kopitar at an 88 overall. Minnesota will lose Kirill Kaprizov at a 91. Montreal will lose their captain Nick Suzuki at an 87 overall. Nashville is going to lose their captain Roman Josi at a 93 overall. That will definitely hurt them. I mean, Nashville isn't that good anyways, but still. Now, somehow Timo Meier is actually the highest rated player on the New Jersey Devils, not Jack Hughes. The New York Islanders will lose Bo Horvat, who's a 92 overall. Since when? I don't even know. I'm not going to question it at this point. They are just going to lose him in the simulation. The New York Rangers will lose Igor Shesterkin at a 95 overall. Ouch. That is going to sting for sure. Losing one of the top 3 goalies in the league definitely will hurt. The Ottawa Senators will lose Alex DeBrincat at a 90 overall. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to lose Travis Konechny at an 87, so I think they'll be fine. Pittsburgh is going to lose their captain for the last 15 seasons, Sidney Crosby, at a 93 overall. I mean, he's got less than 5 years left in him anyways. The San Jose Sharks are going to lose their all-star defenseman Erik Karlsson at a 90 overall. The Seattle Kraken are going to lose Oliver Borkstrand at an 87 overall. The St. Louis Blues are going to lose Jordan Kyrou at an 89 overall. The Tampa Bay Lightning will lose their all-star defenseman Victor Hedman at a 95 overall. Since when was he a 95? Anyways, doesn't matter. I don't agree with it, but still, they're going to lose their top defenseman. Toronto will lose Pablo Escobar. Austin Matthews at a 94 overall. Vancouver is going to lose Quinn Hughes at a 91 overall, which is definitely going to hurt them. He is their number 1 D-man. Vegas will lose Jack Eichel at a 91 overall. That is tough. They just traded for him last season. The Capitals are going to lose Ovi at a 92 overall. Their franchise winger. They're not the greatest team to start with, but they lose their best player, and now they're absolutely trash. And finally, the Winnipeg Jets will lose Connor Hellebuck at a 93 overall. Alright, now we know every player that will be leaving their team's best players. Now let's simulate and see what happens. If you enjoy videos like this, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. Why not help us get there? At the end of year number 1, the Boston Bruins are going to finish first in the Atlantic with 58 wins. The Rangers would finish first in the Central with 51 wins. Vancouver would finish first in the Pacific with 47 wins. And the Minnesota Wild would finish first in the Central with 50 wins. And yet again, Boston is the best team in all of hockey, going 58, 16, and 8, finishing first in the entire league. Next would be Tampa Bay, then the Rangers, the Wild, and the Senators. Wow, okay. David Pastrnak would lead the entire NHL in points with 107. He was actually tied with Nathan MacKinnon. Followed by Patrice Bergeron with 105. What? Why is Bergeron going off in all of my simulations lately? Mikko Rantanen had 99, Stammer 99, Marchand 97, Patrick Kane had a big year. Marty Necas had 26 goals and 93 points. For goals, Pasta had the most at 55, then Kucherov 47, Mikko Rantanen The GOAT, Nathan MacKinnon, Brady Tkachuk had 44, Marchand 43. Adam Fox had the most points by any D-man with 90. Only 7 goals, but 83 assists. Followed by Lindholm, who had 82. Hampus Lindholm. This dude is making a comeback right now. Rasmus Dahlin had 72. Mo Seider, 71. Seth Jones, 62. He was a minus 15, though. Ullmark had the most wins by any goalie in the NHL with 43, followed by Vasi and Jake Ottinger. Samsonov would be tied with Vanacek for the... Actually, it was a 4-way tie between John Gibson, Georgiev, Vanacek, and Samsonov. All had 6 shutouts apiece. And here is our year 1 playoff bracket. And the New York Rangers would go on to win the Stanley Cup as they beat Colorado in 5 games in the Stanley Cup final. Bergeron took home the Hart and the Ted Lindsay, while Pasta would take home the Maurice Richard and the Art Ross. Hampus Lindholm would take home the Norris. Mika Zibanejad would take home the Conn Smythe. Vanacek would take home the Vezina. And you already know Bergeron is taking home that Selke. I was just checking the playoff points for this year's playoffs, and Nathan MacKinnon might have just had the greatest playoff run of all time. 19 goals and 40 points in 24 games. Unfortunately, Colorado did not win the Stanley Cup, but still, that's an amazing playoff run. 40 goddamn points. I think the record's only like 52 by Gretzky. At the end of year 2, somehow the Arizona Coyotes would finish first in the Central with 46 wins. Man, I thought I'd never see the day that Arizona would finish first in their division. The Kraken would finish first in the Pacific with 43 wins. The Rangers yet again finished first in the Metro, this time with 56 wins. And the Boston Bruins yet again finished first in the Atlantic, this time with 50 wins. The New York Rangers were the best team in all of hockey, going 56, 24, and 2, finishing first in the entire NHL, followed by the Boston Bruins, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Washington Capitals, and yet again, the Ottawa Senators are top 5 in the league. Looking at the bottom of the league, we have the Penguins, the Flyers, and the Ducks. The GOAT, Nathan MacKinnon, would have the most points in the entire NHL with 108, followed by Nikita Kucherov, 105. Braden Point had 99, Adam Fox, 98, Forsberg, 97, Pettersson, 97. William Nylander had 40 goals and 94 points. Nikita Kucherov would have the most goals at 57, followed by Svechnikov at 42. There's a big gap between 1 and 2, followed by Mikko Rantanen, 42, William Nylander, 40, Jesper Bratt, 39, Dylan Cousins, 38. Adam Fox had the most points by any defenseman with 98. He also had 15 goals, followed by John Carlson, 78. Mo Seider had 76. Seth Jones, again, 73. Jamie Drysdale, 70. He was at minus 15. Noah Dobson was a minus 17. That is terrible. Andrei Vasilevsky had the most wins by any goalie with 43, followed by Spencer Knight, 41, Linus Ullmark, 40, and Tristan Jarry, 38. And checking on Connor Bedard, he was drafted by the Nashville Predators, and in his first season, he's going to score 33 goals and have 69 points. And here are the year 2 playoff matchups. And in year number 2, the Colorado Avalanche are going to go on to win the Stanley Cup as they beat the New York Rangers in 6 games in the Stanley Cup final. Gotta be honest, the only reason I control Colorado is because I know how good they are. They pretty much win every single Stanley Cup every time I simulate, so I wanted to jump in and actually see the celebration. The GOAT, Nathan MacKinnon, is your Conn Smythe winner. I can imagine the points he put up. He had 40 last season, so. And there it is, the Stanley Cup. Lord Stanley, baby, back to the Colorado Avalanche. And here comes their captain, Gabriel Landeskog, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the 2nd time in his career, 2nd time as a captain, and the 2nd time with the Colorado Avalanche. He's now a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, and he's going to pass it off to the Conn Smythe winner, the greatest of all time, Nathan MacKinnon. He is also a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. MacKinnon would have 15 goals and 35 points in 21 playoff games. Adam Fox would actually take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while also taking home the Norris Trophy. What a hell of a year for him. Kucherov would take home the Maurice Richard, and Nathan MacKinnon would take home the Art Ross. Connor Bedard would take home the Calder. The Conn Smythe, obviously, to Nathan MacKinnon. Linus Ullmark would take home the Vezina, and Matty Beniers would actually take home the Selke. At the end of year number 3, the Wild would finish first in the Central with 49 wins. The Anaheim Ducks would finish first in the Pacific with 50 wins. Yet again, Boston finishes first in the Atlantic with 51 wins. And the Rangers yet again finished first in the Metro, this time with 56 wins. The Rangers are the best team in hockey, yet again going 56, 24, and 2, followed by the Carolina Hurricanes, the Boston Bruins, and the Anaheim Ducks. Gotta be honest, I did not see this one coming. Chicago, Seattle, and San Jose were the worst 3 teams in all of hockey this season. Somehow Adam Fox led the entire NHL in points with 110. He only had 12 goals, but 98 assists. God damn, this is some Bobby Orr type shit. Followed by Kyle Connor, 103, Cole Caulfield, 96, Mark Scheifele, 95, Kucherov, 94, Marchand, Barkov, Pasternak, and Elias Pettersson. For goals, Pasta would have the most at 58, followed by Cole Caulfield, who had 50. Mika Zibanejad, Patrick Laine, Leon Draisaitl. Koshcheshkov would have the most wins by any goalie. I definitely butchered that name. name. Who is this guy? He's 25 years old. He was drafted in 2019 in the second round, 36 overall by Carolina. He's going to finish the year with most wins at 45, followed by Tristan Jarry and Linus Ullmark. Dostal would have the most shutouts in the entire NHL with 7, followed by Ville Husso and Linus Ullmark, who had 5 and 6. And this is the year 3 playoff matchups. We have Boston and Toronto in round number 1. That is definitely going to be good. And we have the Oilers versus Vegas. Hopefully Edmonton can get the revenge. And the New York Rangers are going to win the Stanley Cup yet again, this time beating Connor Bedard and the Nashville Predators in 5 games in the Stanley Cup final. They are absolutely running the Eastern Conference. 3 Stanley Cup finals in a row, winning 2 of them. Adam Fox would take home the Ted Lindsay, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy, while also taking home the Norris Trophy. Logan Cooley would take home the Calder. The Conn Smythe would go to Adam Fox. This guy would take home the Vezina. And Barkov would take home the Selke. Adam Fox and Zibanejad would both have 30 points in 22 playoff games, but the Conn Smythe would go to Adam Fox, which is weird considering he only had 6 goals. Zibanejad had 12, but I mean, maybe he was a lot better defensively. At the end of year number 4, the Colorado Avalanche would finish first in the Central with 51 wins. The Vancouver Canucks would finish first in the Pacific with 46 wins. Carolina finishes first in their division with 53 wins. And the Tampa Bay Lightning would finish first in their division with 48 wins. The Carolina Hurricanes were the best team in all of hockey, going 53, 22, and 7, followed by the Washington Capitals, the New York Rangers, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Winnipeg Jets. Buffalo, Chicago, and St. Louis were the 3 worst teams in all of hockey. Nathan MacKinnon would absolutely explode this season, having 121 points, obviously leading the entire NHL, followed by Alexander Barkov, 106, Connor Bedard, 102, Philip Forsberg, Mark Scheifele, Timmy Stu, or some call him Jimmy. Yes, that's a real thing. Shane Wright had 94, Nikita Kucherov, 93, Stammer, 92. For goals, Stamkos had the most at 45. Actually, it was a 3-way tie. It was a 5-way tie between Giroux, McKinnon, Forsberg, Kucherov, and Stammer. They would all have 45 goals. Adam Fox, yet again, has the most points by a defenseman with 79, followed by John Carlson, Aaron Ekblad, and Noah Dobson. Yet again, this guy will have the most wins by any goalie with 44, followed by Linus Ullmark. And this is our year 4 playoff matchups. In the first round, we have Florida versus Boston. That is going to be a movie. Hopefully, Boston does not choke a 3-1 lead to the Florida Panthers yet again. And yet again, the New York Rangers are going to go on to win the Stanley Cup as they beat the Minnesota Wild in 7 games in the Stanley Cup final. What is that, their 3rd or 4th Stanley Cup of the simulation? The Rangers won 3 Stanley Cups in 4 years, making all 4 Stanley Cup finals. I guess if you remove their best player in Igor Shesterkin, they're going to win every single Stanley Cup and become the greatest team of all time. Nathan MacKinnon is the greatest player of all time. Adam Fox is the best defenseman of all time. The Conn Smythe would go to Adam Fox. The Vezina to Robin Lehner on the Arizona Coyotes. And Barkov would take home the Selke. Nashville will finish first in the Central with 50 wins. Vancouver is going to finish first in the Pacific with 55 wins. The Rangers will finish first in the Metro with 49 wins. And finally, the Ottawa Senators are going to finish first in the Atlantic with 53 wins. And they are going to be the best team in the NHL, going 53, 21, and 8. Followed by the Vancouver Canucks, the Nashville Predators, the New York Rangers, and the Colorado Avalanche. Chicago, LA, and Columbus were the 3 worst teams in the entire NHL. Nathan MacKinnon would lead the entire NHL in goals and points with 116, followed by Kyle Connors, 110. Connor Bedard, 105, Mark Scheifele, David Pasternak, Mika Zibanejad, Elias Pettersson, and Rope Hintz. For goals, obviously, MacKinnon would have the most, followed by Kyle Connor, 48, David Pasternak had 47, Leon Draisaitl, 47, that's the first I've heard of him. For defensemen, Adam Fox had the most with 76, followed by Pionk, 65, Bowen Byram had 65, and Sergachev would have 62. For goalies, Stuart Skinner had the most wins at 46, followed by Carter Hart and Alexander Georgiev. And this is our Year 5 playoff matchups, and the Colorado Avalanche yet again are going to win the Stanley Cup as they beat the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup final in 7 games. Yes, the Rangers made their 5th straight Stanley Cup final. I have never seen anything like it. We were down 3-1 in the series, and somehow we clawed our way back to win the Stanley Cup. But the Rangers, man, 5 straight Stanley Cup final appearances, that is insane. Nathan MacKinnon yet again is your Conn Smythe winner. And here comes Captain Gabriel Landeskog coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the 3rd time in his career, 2nd time in the simulation, and yet again the Colorado Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions. Nathan MacKinnon would have 20 goals and 43 points in 24 playoff games. Now that might be the greatest playoff run of all time. God damn, man. New York, 5 straight Stanley Cup final appearances. I've never had that in any of my simulations, literally ever. But hey, they might be the greatest dynasty of all time. Nathan MacKinnon is the greatest player of all time. He would take home the Ted Lindsay, the Maurice Richard, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy. Pionk would take home the Norris, the Conn Smythe, obviously, to Nathan MacKinnon, the Vezina to Kachiev, and Rope Hintz is actually going to take home the Selke. And that will do it for this video, boys. I guess the New York Rangers are the greatest dynasty of all time. They would win 3 Stanley Cups, and the Colorado Avalanche would win 2 in the simulation. So they were by far the best 2 teams in all of the simulation. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And remember, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.